All right. Well, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Beyond ERP. Today, we're privileged to have Mark Diatter from Tipalti joining us. Mark is a dynamic professional currently serving as the Alliances Manager at Tipalti, a leading global payables automation platform based up in San Francisco. In his role, Mark plays a pivotal part in managing strategic alliances in the U.S. West and APAC regions, contributing to the growth and success of Tipalti's innovative solutions. Mark, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Lewis. Happy to be here. Looking forward to this conversation. Would you like me to introduce myself a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so I've been with Tipalti now for 8 years. Company's only 10 years old, so kind of one of the founding members. I love the space. We'll talk a little bit about that. But I spent, 30 years here in the San Francisco area working in the tech field, and collectively, about 15 of that was in and around the ERP arena. So it's something I'm familiar with and somewhat passionate about.
All right. Well, we are too. So the conversation should be enthralling to our listeners.
Yeah. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about how you've witnessed the evolution of payables, automation during your time at Tipalti, and then maybe some key advancements, what you might see in the future in the industry.
Yeah, great question. I would say 8 years ago, the category was almost non-existent, right? So, PayPal was out there solving problems for the C2C or person-to-person, money transmission space. Bill.com came into the category kind of on the low end, addressing, the SMB space with some very fundamental AP capabilities around OCR and things like that. And really that was the focus. The focus was OCR. How do I capture these invoices? Which is really just table stakes today because the platforms have evolved really quite dramatically. I think we take a look at it from a more holistic standpoint than any of the players that are in the market. Today, especially in the mid-market space where we focus our efforts, buyers expect a lot more than just OCR. They expect fraud mitigation, tax compliance. They need support for foreign currencies. They need robust, FX capabilities. And today, basically, people expect us to be using the latest and greatest technology, right? They expect us to be using machine learning. What are we doing with AI, which we're doing quite a bit. We can talk a little bit more about. But today, really, I think the space is evolving, and we really kind of feel like we're leading a category shift beyond just accounts payable, right? So that's why we now offer expense reimbursements. We have a Tipalti card for corporate spend with rebates and things like that. We have support for multi-entity accounting requirements and FX and treasury management functions all on the same platform. So, and of course, with real-time integration back to ERP. So, the new category we're defining isn't just AP, although that's the first thing that people think of. So that's why we use the term finance automation in all of our marketing materials. And that's where the value proposition is more of a 1 + 1 = 3 type of an outcome for our customers.
Fantastic. And I was hoping you could maybe spend a little bit of time talking through the importance of strategic partnerships, especially in the fintech space, how partnerships are contributing to your mission at Tipalti.
Well, at an increasing level. So for those that want to know, I manage the relationships with system integrators like Nuage, right? These are the trusted advisors to the customers, right? So they're a hugely important channel for us, right? It gives us the credibility when we're recommended into a firm by the system integrator, right? And we have to deliver really a consultative experience based on that because our partner's reputation is on the line. We need to demonstrate professionalism, subject matter expertise, and frankly, an empathy for the customer as well. And even more so, really deliver on those expectations that are set in the sales engagement. So from an ERP perspective, NetSuite is basically, that was our first integration that we released. And even though we can support many other ERPs today, But NetSuite remains to be our largest install base. I would bet probably 30 to 35% of our entire customer base, which is around 4,000 today, are NetSuite customers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And as we kind of pivot a little bit into both U.S. and APAC regions, hoping you could share a little bit as to just some of the key differences, some of the similarities, maybe even outside of U.S. and APAC. Who do you all look to as a region or a country as somewhat the gold standard from an AP automation finance tech space?
Yeah. So, well, it's interesting, and I'm not sure I'm addressing your question exactly, but what I see in terms of similarities is really the risk factors are constantly emerging and changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So more business functions are going online and more bad actors are emerging from every corner of the globe, right? So the entire, in fact, entire industries exist entirely online, which becomes a huge target for bad actors. And we have to consider it our responsibility to mitigate that risk,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're the stewards of our customers' money. And that has to be what collectively keeps us up at night in any part of the globe, and of course increasingly as we move into other markets in Europe and Asia, etc. So we have to stay in front of these threats in every piece of our tech stack and the service that we deliver to our customers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Managing finance and your payables, it presents definitely some unique challenges for organizations. Mark, maybe tell us a little bit about how Tipalti addresses these challenges, and then maybe some advice. Yeah.
Yeah, great question. I think we have to factor in every tangential function associated with the vendor relationship, right? So we have to be the one who has thought about what the client yet hasn't thought about, and bring it to their attention. So that gets back to how are you onboarding your vendors, how you're vetting and validating the data that you're collecting on your platform. What are you doing to reduce payment errors? Of course, we have to be mindful of the ease of use for both the payer and the payee, right? And then all these other things that are typically an afterthought: fraud mitigation, tax compliance. And really then is, the ability to scale the business scale effectively. That's essentially the holy grail. The way we evaluate ourselves is, can our businesses, our clients, continue to meet their growth aspirations and continue to use us? So, all of our customers in the mid-market space have growth aspirations. So they're evaluating us from a standpoint of, where are they today? And where do they aspire to be in year 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6? So, the advice I give is, I would say, take the time to document what concerns you today and in the future, right? So build out your current state and future state vision, and then really list those priorities, like ranked in order, right? Get them down on paper, bring them to the meeting, make sure your folks are aligned on the same list, right? And share that with the vendor that you're evaluating. Be transparent with them. They're going to best be able to show you and deliver you what you need if they know what's important to you, right? And then the most important thing always comes down to money, but be willing to pay for the best solution, because in this space, the consequences of a substandard solution, they're way too high, and increasingly in today's economy, increasing at an unprecedented rate. So, be willing to pay for the right solution.
Yeah.
Mark, I know Gina wanted to get into some of the feature set and some of the enhancements you all have down the pipe. I wanted to ask, if I'm one of the 30% of your customer base as a NetSuite user, I'm a small, medium-sized organization, I may be scaling. At what point does it make sense as a NetSuite user to consider Tipalti?
Well, it's a great question. I don't know if there's a metric or a pain point. I think it's where it really is where pain starts to compile. I would put it this way. Some people look at it like, how many invoices, how many payments are you processing?
Yeah.
In that case, maybe you could set a lower end threshold of 100 or 200. Beyond that point, it might be a little bit difficult to keep up with. But I think it's really a matter of complexity. I think the customers that flourish with us the most are the ones who have hit an inflection point where now they have multi-entity accounting requirements. They have multiple base currencies. They have a lot more cross-border spend, which is not only complex, but also a lot more risky. And it also includes the cost of being able to do FX cost effectively. So it's a combination of characteristics in addition to critical mass. Obviously, our customers, we have customers that are consuming, 2, 5, 10,000 invoices every month on our platform, and they have equivalent number of payments that have to go out the door, and we can support them just fine as they scale.
Gotcha. So Tipalti is on the forefront, obviously, of financial technology, right, Mark? So maybe you can address some of the insights of innovative solutions within and features maybe that you're bringing out into the market to address these evolving needs of our finance professionals.
Sure. I mean, I think primarily it's our use of machine learning and AI, and we're using it across an increasing portions of our platform, right? So, I mean, because this puts information and insights into the hands of the users faster and with greater ease, right? Insights are crucial to avoiding pitfalls, and they're also crucial to setting corrective actions. So, and our competitors are way behind in the use of AI, and that continues to be an opportunity for us to create distance from the other competitors in the market.
Fantastic. And with respect to the AI, can you drill in a little bit more as to some of the notable accolades or some of the features, with NetSuite's text enhanced just being rolled out? With a lot of folks, it seems like if you say AI as an organization, you're going to get a heavy multiple on your next series round. What are some of the exciting things that you guys have with respect to AI? Is it just transforming speed? Are there specific feature functionalities that you can talk to?
I'll give you one that I think is really impressive. We obviously use it for determining coding of an invoice and approval routing. But here's a good one for you. So you can use free text to write yourself a report, right? Let's say I want to know every invoice that's been approved that I have to pay in the next 15 days. Boom, there, done. These are insights, right? Another one might be, show me the list of the slowest approvers in my organization. And you can see that, Joe Blow takes 7 days to approve an invoice, and Jane Doe takes 6 days to approve an invoice. That gives you insights that you can that are actionable. You can go to these people and say, hey, I need you to keep on top of this. Causing me problems and taking me extra time, downstream. So, let's stay on top of these things because you're causing me problems. So it's AI insights it's almost unlimited, the number of things that you can ask the system. And it's actually quite fun to play with.
Very impressive. Yeah. And in the nature of just the dynamic nature of all these financial regulations across the globe, how are you all staying compliant, with all the diverse frameworks that are in compliance standards? How do you guys stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, well, I tell you, I think we're doing a lot more than anyone realizes. It's a great question. So, first of all, we're a licensed money transmitter, right? So that's an MTL license, money transmitter's license. We have to get that in every state of the union with the exception of Hawaii. So we have 48 MTLs or 49 MTLs. Those organizations audit us every 2 to 3 years. So we're constantly under audit. We're a money service business which rolls up to a function and a standard under the Department of Treasury. So we're very much regulated like a bank. In the UK, now that we have a London office, there's what's called FCA e-money license. So that's another issuance or regulatory standard that we have to stay on top of. There's now an equivalent in the EU now that we have an Amsterdam office. And on behalf of our customers, keep them compliant. Every vendor that onboards an instance that Tipalti is subject to an OFAC screen. That's the Office of Foreign Asset Controls. Every payment that goes out the door is exposed to an OFAC screen. Again, Office of Foreign Asset Controls. Mm-hmm. So as these things are built into the platform, we have 26,000 rules that can come into play when a vendor onboards to get paid on the Tipalti platform. And a lot of them are just that. They're us maintaining these regulatory standards for our sake and the sake of our customers, including tax, right? So we're collecting tax documents. It's our responsibility to update our tax collection practices and reporting practices on behalf of our customer. That's our job. Mm-hmm. So, we also maintain a list of sanctioned nations, right, and integrate with a number of global blacklists to avoid our customers accidentally paying a bad actor or somebody who's in a sanctioned nation and they didn't know it. That's our job. So we have a quite large department of people in services development and compliance to really our customers benefit from that investment.
Wow. Well, Mark, I want to thank you for sharing your experiences here and on behalf of Tipalti, focusing on the evolution of payables and strategic alliances and what's down the pipe. Pretty excited to see a little bit more. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. To our listeners, please feel free to reach out to Mark if you have any questions. We'll include his LinkedIn bio below. For businesses seeking innovative solutions, strategies, Nuage here. Sorry, I've been stumbling my words all day. Nuage here specializes in guiding you all through that transformation and optimization. Mark, we like to give our guests kind of the last word. Anything you'd like to add before we conclude?
No, thanks for the invitation. I was honored and flattered. Hadn't heard from Gina in a while, and this was great. I'm glad you guys thought of me, and look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
It was a pleasure. Thanks.
Thanks, Gina. Thanks, Louis. Mm-hmm.